Welcome everyone to HJ Goes Live, supported by Avlon. I'm Sian, HJ's Deputy Editor, and today we're talking to the wonderful Jackie McIntosh, the European Education Director for Avlon. She'll be discussing Afro and textured hair education, looking specifically at where we are now. Welcome, Jackie. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you, Sian. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So we recently spoke to you in our September issue of Hairdressers Journal about the black hair industry in 2023 and whether the industry has changed for the better and what more needs to happen. And I know that Avlon is doing a lot of work in this area. Could you tell us a bit more about the changes that were made to the college curriculum and assessments and what Avlon is doing specifically to support colleges and salons in delivering the correct education?
Okay, right. I might be slightly misquoted because I'm not involved in college education as vastly as I was before. But what the National Occupational Standards has done has really amplified the fact that prior to the new standards, even though the Afro units were already available, students could very much go through their college education and not touch Afro hair at all. There may have been a couple of questions in their written exams about it, but the physical contact of Afro hair, they would have absolutely been able to surpass. With these new standards now, it's imperative that every learner is exposed and given that information. So not only the underpinning knowledge, but also having the experience of working with textured hair. And, you know, for me, I think that's really where the crux of it starts, because I think, you know, you kind of have to unpack this in three separate ways. I think from a business perspective, there is a conversation to have. I think from a creative perspective, there is and media and all of that, there is a conversation to have. But I think fundamentally, when it comes to education, I think that really is the starting line. You know, if we're not educating students when they come into those arenas on all hair types equally, then you're never going to bridge that gap when they come into industry, because it's going to be too hard for it to be done. And I know that there are a lot of arguments in terms of salon owners, you know, being made to feel like they've got a gun against their head to deliver textured hair. Me personally, and I'm just talking personally, I don't think that's fair. I think, you know, as creatives, we choose what elements we wish to deliver within our business. However, I think from an education, and I'll go back to that, I think there should be no choice. If you are delivering a funded course, because let's be clear, everybody that works pays taxes. Everybody that owns a business has to pay business taxes. So for me, as a salon owner, if I'm delivering Afro hairdressing, I should at least be able to employ somebody that has that fundamental understanding of the knowledge. Yes, we're always going to have to increase that education, but the fundamentals should be there initially. So I think it really does start at college. And I think the fact that the assessment strategy is being adapted to ensure that those loopholes cannot no longer be forged, that's very important. Do I feel that it's going to happen overnight? No, because I think, you know, I know from our part in Avlon, we are working with a lot of colleges. Some we are doing a hell of a lot more for than others. And by that, I mean, you'll have, because of this National Occupational Standards, you'll have some colleges that will be calling professionals like myself in to come and support them and their staff. And we may be doing a 1 day or a 2 day training session with them to help them, you know, learn those technical skills for your basics like shampooing, blow drying and assessing hair. But if you're somebody that's never, ever worked in this category, how does a 2 day course equip you to be able to stand in front of a classroom of students and give them knowledge on how to deliver that? And that to me is where the line starts to get muddy. We at Avlon, we have done 2 day courses, but more so, those courses are with people that maybe have had experience with Afro hair some time ago, they haven't done it for a long time, and it's just going back in to refresh those skills and make them, you know, see what's new, have a new update on product knowledge and things like that. And that's worked for people that have had prior experience. For those people that have had no experience whatsoever of working with Afro hair, we try to encourage colleges to work with us in a partnership. And by that, I mean, we go in, we deliver that education, but we also work with them in understanding how to deliver that underpinning knowledge to their learners. Because if we're really honest, you know, a lot of lecturers will go to YouTube for that information because there is nothing for them to get that information from. And often that information that they're picking up is not the right information to be delivering to their students. And often you've got students that are coming in there that have more knowledge than the lecturer. So for me, it's really about us equipping that lecturer to feel confident in front of a class and being able to bridge that gap. So if you're delivering a session on shampooing, you should be able to fundamentally talk about the differences between the shampoos that you would use for Caucasian hair as opposed to what you would use for Afro textured hair, and why those differences are important and what the impact's going to be to that client if you select the wrong type of shampoo for their hair, because a simple thing like that can be distressing for a client with textured hair. So it goes a lot more than just the technical application. It's also that underpinning knowledge that needs to be supported until lecturers feel really comfortable in that delivery.
And I think thinking about that gap in knowledge, I know that Avalon is encouraging salons to not shy away from Afro hairdressing and, you know, having the confidence to take up those courses. Do you think uptake in textured hair courses in salons has a way to go?
I think it still has a way to go, because I think for me, and this is what I'm saying, when you have to decompact it all, because I just think, you know, it's like, for me, if you're a salon owner, you know, when you open your business, you have your brand, you have your business ethos, you know what you want to specialize in, whether it be color, whether it be cutting and finishing. You know, you have your thought process on what that business is going to be, what is your brand about. So I think it's quite hard to then turn around and say to somebody, well, if you're doing that, you must do this, because that's not how it works. You know, having Afro hair within your salon, it is a business decision, because you're going to have to invest in that decision. And as in any business, it's about return on investment. If you're in an area where the likelihood of you having a client with that hair type coming through the door is going to be minimal, is that investment going to be worth your while doing at this point? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't research and see, because often we will say, oh, you know, we don't have textured hair clients around us. It's not that you don't have textured hair clients around, they just don't come to your salon, because there's nothing reflected in your salon to say that you would accept someone with my hair type in that space. So I think it's about not shutting the door to it, but getting advice. You know, before we go into salons to support them, we have that conversation. You know, what is the demographics in your area? You know, what is it that you do currently that is your top seller or your top service? And then we look at, okay, well, how can we take what you do really, really well and incorporate that across to bring in that textured hair market as well? And, you know, for me, the most fundamental thing is shampooing and blow drying, and, you know, shampoo and finishing, or shampoo and, you know, natural finishes. You know, every salon shampoos a client's hair, every salon will finish a client's hair. So how do we incorporate that in your business initially, and then you can look at other services? So I think sometimes it's about being really practical and allowing people to be honest, you know, because I feel that some salons feel scared to say, well, actually, no, it's not a service that I want to deliver because it just doesn't fit my brand. And as far as I'm concerned, there really is nothing wrong with that. I think it's really down to what is it that you want to deliver. If you're going to deliver Afro hairdressing, let's look at it and let's do it properly. And let's make sure that when them clients come through the door, they feel welcomed in that space. They feel that you've taken the time to understand their hair needs. They can see that by the products that you've got on your back bar. They can see that by the imagery that you've got hanging up. You know, it's really making that client feel that you've done the work to know what their hair needs, rather than just have a general use product product that says for curly hair, and then you're going to tell me with my Afro hair that that product is suitable for me when I've had my hair for God knows how many years. I know that that's never going to work in my hair. So I think it's really about, from a business perspective, looking at it and just being honest to yourself and what you can do and what you may not be able to do right now. But I think clients having access to any salon, in an ideal world, that will be amazing. I'm a very practical person. I just don't think that the practicalities of that is going to happen. In major cities, absolutely. But if you're somewhere in a village where actually that demographic is minute or not at all, you can't expect someone to do that kind of investment and not be able to get a return on it. So I just think sometimes we have to be practical when we're talking about that, and we have to allow businesses to have the opportunity to look at their business and see how incorporating this service within their salon is going to benefit them, because everybody's in business to make money. Yes, I appreciate that the Afro biz, we see all this hello, I've lost you. Just in my swing vote, you disappeared. Everyone knows that, you know, we're worth 83 billion or 83 million pounds, and that women of color spend 3 times the amount. Yeah, we know all of that. But when we break that down into segments, you know, you've got to look at it, okay, it's still a professional business, and there's still a segment of that market that will source a professional service. So how do you encompass that? And how do you make that part of your current business? And I think for us at Avalon, that's what we're here to do. We're here not just to say, oh, these are our products, that's how you use them. We're here to look at your business and say, okay, you know, you're probably benefited by using this line, and looking at the services that you currently do, this will filter in quite easily. And, you know, our educators will work with your team and look at your upskilling and service you from that perspective. And that's helped. And I think from doing that, we've recognized that our education fundamentally are for Avalon client accounts. But because of the lack of standardized education privately, I would say, in Afro texture care and even within colleges, we felt that it's kind of important for us to kind of open our doors to embrace everybody that wants to learn textured hair. So even if you're a freelancer, even if you're a salon and you want to start with one team member and maybe build on that, now in 2024, we will have our academies where we're looking to have 2 satellite academies where you will be able to send your team to come and work with our experts and develop that skill set, and not just come and sit and do a seminar, because I really have a real big thing about that. Not that I'm knocking daily courses, but again, for me, if you're going to learn a skill, it's about learning that skill and being examined on that skill and passing that standard to then go back into your salon and say, yes, I am technically sound to carry out this service. For me, that's what puts that stamp on the box, and that's what we will be doing.
And thinking about this from a different perspective, obviously, a lot of the conversation is about how, you know, every client should be able to walk in and, you know, you should be able to do their hair. But what do you think the positive impact of this and, you know, bringing everything up to standard is going to be on young Black hairdressers and apprentices looking to enter the industry, or those that are already in the industry?
Again, I think, you know, it is good. I think, you know, apprenticeships are down across the industry. That is a fact. And so obviously, if it's down in general hairdressing, it's even down in textured hairdressing, because, you know, it's just how the things balance out. I think by salons embracing textured hair and having learners come in that are educated in textured hair, that in itself will inspire your team to maybe look at it and not be so mystified by embracing textured hair. I think also, you know, businesses at the minute are really being hit from all over the place. So I just think it's important to look at how we keep our doors open and how we ensure that we're delivering services that meet the need of everybody. I don't think personally in today's world that you can get away with just doing one hair type, because we just don't live in that kind of environment anymore. 30 years ago, even being somebody that specialized in a salon that was predominantly European hair was but now it's that expectation. We have such multicultural households that when you think of a mother that may have mixed heritage children or may have adopted children, which is a big one, if you've got European hair or if you've got Afro hair and you want to take your child to the same salon as you, which should be a lovely thing for a mother and daughter, a mother and son to do, it's quite hard if you've got to drop one child off at one place and another child off at another place to get their hair done. I mean, when you think about it like that, it makes no sense. So I just think it's important for us to look at what the future of our demographics is going to be and prepare for that. At the end of the day, you can go into any report, textured hair is on the increase. The likelihood by 2025 for you to have a client that doesn't walk in through your door with textured hair is going to be minimal. So to not be ready for that, or to not be skilled to deliver those kind of services, would be detrimental to your business. So I just think it's important that, one, yes, the next generation of apprentices that are coming up are going to be well equipped to cover all hair types, but two, that next generation are going to be powerful within our businesses to help build that new clientele and to help build that new income within the salon business.
So finally, this is the huge question, Jackie, which we've probably covered a lot of it already. Thinking about where we are now, it's 2 years since the changes were made to the curriculum. What more do you think needs to be done, or what would you like to see done?
For me personally, I think, the whole reason that this all kicked off was because of the George Floyd situation and the whole Black Lives Matter. And, it's sad that it's taken someone's life for us to really be having these kind of conversations now. But I think there is still a hell of a lot way to go, because for me, I don't just break it down in one segment. Let's look at businesses. A lot of, I was reading a report that was saying that, a lot of salons are in poorer areas and, not a lot of salons are in high value postcodes, which I think is kind of insulting to a degree, because there have been some amazing Afro salons in high value postcodes. But what people fail to address is not the fact that these salons can't exist in those spaces. Landlords don't rent to people in those spaces that look like me. And often a lot of these salon owners have had to get white counterparts, friends, colleagues, to be the face of that landlord to allow them to even get their premises. Off the top of my head, I could name you salons that have had to start that way in the West End. So for me, it's about making the playing field even for everybody, regardless of who you are, what you look like. Why can't I go into the borough of Kensington and get a shop just as I am, Jackie McIntosh? Why do I have to have a front to do that? That for me needs to change. I think secondly, I think the industry in itself, yes, there's been major changes. I see that, some of our bigger brands are embracing textured hair, but for me, who's at the boardroom with you making those decisions that you're making about textured hair? Who is that person sitting in that room that has that knowledge and of the culture and the diversity? Because that's important. If you don't understand the culture of the people that you're producing for, then for me, I don't understand what it is that you're producing. So I think it's important to have people around the table that understand the marketplace that you want to go into. And then thirdly, it comes back down to education, in ensuring that we are delivering education across the board. We're not making people with textured hair feel marginalized. We're not making them feel like you're doing them a favor by including them into your curriculum. It should be standard. There should be no difference. It should be across the board. And then if you want to specialize in a different arm, then by all means do that. So do we still have work to do? Yes, we do. Have we made movements? Yes, we most certainly have, but I don't feel that we're in a space where we can sit on our laurels. However, I would say in the UK, we are doing a hell of a lot more than our European counterparts. And for that, I think we should be very proud, because I think we are leading the charge in making those changes. But I just feel that we still need to continue.
So for anybody who wants to find out more about the education, you said it's going to be branched out next year to... for everybody?
Yeah, so 2024, our doors will be open for the Avalon Academy, and you will be able to apply and come and join myself teaching some of the programs. The other educators will have guest artists as well. And for us, it's really about sharing knowledge. It's about supporting stylists to really feel that confident to go back into the salon. You know, we had a team meeting on Sunday, and you know, myself and the educators, and we're kind of just like looking at the curriculum and the final pieces, and everyone's just so excited because us as educators have wanted to do this forever. So you can imagine that we're like a bottle of pop. And you know, yeah, and it was like, you know, what do we want? And it was like, yeah, we want people to be inspired. We want them to go back into their salons and just really want to just let loose. And for me, feeling that energy from my team, it's just amazing, because I know that people are going to come on those courses and they're going to absolutely love it. So like I said, and for me, again, I think the important thing for myself, the team, and everybody at Avalon, we didn't want to just be doing courses where, oh yeah, you come, you pay your money, and we tick the box and tell you, there you go, you're wonderful. No, we want that certificate to have a meaning. So people know that when you've come through that academy, you've actually come through it, you've done the sweat and the tears, you've sat that paper, you've done the tasks that you need to do to get that certificate at the end of it, so that when you've got that hanging in your salon, any client that comes in there knows that you understand that process inside out. And that's what we're going to be proud of, is to give salons that ethos to know that, yeah, I've done this. And when a client comes in, they can see that I've done this, and they can see that I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Jackie, I feel like I need to get you back to talk about the business side of things, and like a success story 12 months from now.
I mean, you know, hopefully we will have. No, I am sure that we will have some successes, because you know the thing is, we travel to Europe, we travel internationally, and people are always asking for courses. They're always asking, "Oh, I'd love to come do some training with you guys," blah blah blah. And you know, we've done what we could have done in terms of, you know, our in-salon training and things like that. But now we'll have a space that is dedicated to that, and we will be able to do our full portfolio of education that we'll roll out to salons. And you know, there's so much that we want to do for the future that I can't even talk about now, but there's so much that we want to do that is going to consistently raise that standard and keep that standard raised. Because I just think, for me, for professional hairdressers, you know, how do we stay professional? How do we stay relevant? How do we allow clients and consumers to respect the value that we put in the service that we deliver? I personally, I'm a hairdresser. For me, if you're charging for something, there has to be a value in that. And as a customer, I want to see that value. I want to feel that experience. And for me, that's what's going to be my job and my team's job, to give to you as stylists, so that you then are able to deliver that to your clients.
Amazing. So if anybody wants to find out more, head to avaloneurope.co.uk. Jackie,
there you go.
So much for joining.
Or you can tag me on Instagram if you can't get through, if you want to ask questions. Yeah, I mean, you know, and the thing is, what I want to say to people, don't be shy. You know, we're not here to strip you down. If you don't know, you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. But what we are here to do is to empower you. So, you know, by all means, you can tag me and have a conversation with me privately if you want to discuss anything, if you've got any kind of myths that you feel, oh my God, I'm not good enough for this and all of that. You know, the one thing I've learned, even just doing Project Afro, all of us have skills. It's just about how we adapt those skills to meet the needs of the clientele that we want to attract, and we'll help you with that.
And if anyone wants to send any questions to HJ, we can send them on your way. Fill your inbox.
No problem. No problem.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to Avalon for sponsoring this session. I hope everyone found it useful, and hopefully speak to you soon, Jackie.
Thank you, and thank you for listening. And like I said, I'm here. If not me and members of my team, you can tag us on Instagram and we'll be happy to answer any queries you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.